Alright, hello and welcome to the postgrad year. Today we're going to be talking about the Commonplace Book. My version's a binder, but what we're actually going to be doing is looking at thumbnails. Or specifically, I'm going to be showing you, and we'll just get into it. Okay, so this is what we're going to be looking at. This is Commonplace Book, History, and then, data year 3. But that's not super related to the video itself. There are only 11 items in this, which means the results will be not great. But number 1 should still be good, and the last one should be bad. So I'm going to say the key terms, I'm going to read the top, I'm going to read the whole thing, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and that'll be the video. So, what, volumes, other languages, modern, morals, handwritten, starting, long. So, that's actually a lot, which means it should be pretty easy to tell what does well and what does poorly. But we're going to start all the way at the very top. We're 11 items, now 12, in future 10. A little note that's a little bit too difficult for me to decipher in under 10 seconds, so we're just going to leave that alone. But anyways, the subfolders. The first one is what. And so the way that this works, in case this is the first one of these videos you're watching, is Commonplace Book, History. But then there's some videos which have a different word, which affects how frequently people view or click on, well, specifically click on and watch the videos. So the first word is what. And so that means Commonplace Book, History, what? Or probably more specifically, what history is in a commonplace book, or a commonplace book is what some people use to look through history, or some other combination of the words which forms an interesting title. Anyways, what is the first word? And so that's subfolder 1. It has 1 item in it, and the thumbnail, sometimes I'll write based on a combination of what the normal thumbnails are, or just whatever the best one is. But if there's only one, obviously it's whatever the best one is, because there's only one. So, 1 item, question on screen along with PowerPoint, video game. That's it? That's weird. So it might be that, somebody clicked on it out of novelty. It could be that the person got lots of views because they have a big channel. Could be that was simply the most interesting way to present the information. Subfolder 2 is volumes. There's only 1 item for that. It's a guy holding 3 pretty books up to the camera. People like pretty things. Number 3 is languages, specifically other languages, not English. So normally when this happens, it's Portuguese. Sometimes it's another language, but normally when that happens, it's another Romance language. So, yeah. There are 3 items, 2 French and 1 Portuguese. Look at that, a Portuguese one. Although 2 French, that's pretty unusual. So I guess the French love their history. Number 4, modern, 1 item. Book so old and used, it looks almost like clay. Oh, I remember that one. It's the paper is so old and used and worn, and the oil people's fingers got on it that it like merged together and it looks almost like clay. It's wild. 1 hand holding it in place and another pointing. So that makes sense, because it's like, this is my thing, and whoa, I'm looking at it. Makes sense. But there are only 8 things on this list, and considering that's number 4, this is about the last point where the stuff is useful. Beyond this, it's pretty much what you don't want to do if you're talking about commonplace book history. Not because the other things are bad necessarily, but they're just not efficient. Like it'd be better to combine them with other words, or in a different order, but mostly different words. So number 5 is morals. Yeah, so like morals, for example, relating to commonplace books, you should probably assign that to, I don't know, quotations, or a specific philosopher, or a historical period, rather than just history. You know, like that doesn't doesn't really do a lot. So number 5 is morals, 1 item, aristocratic looking woman in black and white, as 2 images with one being 4/7 and the other being 3/7. Why? I really dislike when people do this. If you're going to divide something into 2 or 3 or 4, or maybe even 5, sure, but 7? Come on, man. Subcategory number 6 is handwritten, kind of like this. 1 item, strange presentation, mostly caps title, eBay link. Yeah, so I don't think this is just the title or the thumbnail, but also the description. Basically, there's not a lot to go on when it comes to some of the videos near the end. They're just bad. Like they're not made properly, including my own. But yeah, once you get below 400, especially 450 out of the 470, they are pretty weird, and it's just it's something, all right. Subfolder number 7 is starting. That's actually crazy because starting normally does really well because, you know, someone wants to know who, what, where, when, why, but also like how to start. And I know I said how in there, but starting is pretty essential. So number 7 is starting. There's 1 item, writing on a book with some plant drawing plus black text edited over in the corner. Yeah, black text does okay. White does the best. I'm saying that with such confidence and authority, even though I haven't looked at this since November of 2023, and it is currently, as of recording, not when this is going to be posted or scheduled or when it's actually going to come out, but right now for me it's April of 2024. So yeah, it's going to be outdated. But last is number 8, which is long. And there are 2 items here. Almost an hour and then 25 minutes. Basically, if you're going to make it long, make it super long. But making it long just isn't helpful for this sort of thing. For whatever reason, when it comes to history, people don't want it to be long. And when I say long, that's not because the video is labeled as long, but because I categorized it as long. And that'll happen in some of these videos. Sometimes it'll be what I said it is. Other times it'll be what the word was exactly. But those were 2 videos at the end, and I was just like, I'm going to categorize these. Probably should have marked them as other, but since they were the same, they just ended up being there. So I hope you found this helpful. If you didn't, I understand, because it only goes over 11 items. And maybe you're not trying to make videos with specific titles. So if you're just sticking around, thank you for being here. If you're here to learn something specific, I hope you got that. And either way, I will see you. Okay, bye.